Is Tucker Carlson planning to start a new party? There's been some talk about that recently, both with Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene. They were both asked about this, and I'll show you the response. Now, if you're not aware, Tucker Carlson is officially saying that he's left the Republican Party, not going to vote for them anymore. Let's watch that first.
I would not support the Republican Party. There's no chance I would support the Republican Party. I'm not going to support the Democratic Party. I don't know what I'm going to do. But at this point, how could I or any American voter support a political party that's not loyal to the United States, that puts the interests of a foreign country above those of its own citizens? That's it's not possible to vote for people like that, and I'm not going to. And I think I voted Republican my entire life. I worked at Fox News, CNN, right, MSNBC. I've been a consistent defender for 35 years of the Republican Party. I mean, very consistent defender. But there's no defending this because it's immoral. And it's exactly the opposite of what a political party in a democracy is charged with doing, which is representing its own voters, its own citizens, its own nation. And they're not doing that. So, no, I'm out. And if I'm out, then I think a lot of other people are out.
Yeah, and I agree. There would be a lot of people that would follow. Now, has third party ever been successful? No, it hasn't. And I don't see that being a success at this point. We're just a two-party system. But, people are seeing more and more that it's a uniparty. And that in many ways, obviously, there are vast differences. But on core issues like sovereignty of the nation, being at the absolute, let's say, influence, the massive, overwhelming influence of any foreign nation controlling what we do through lobbies is a serious issue. And yeah, so just doing what Netanyahu wants all of the time, and obviously showing that you don't have the nation's interest at heart. That would obviously be our current president, but that seems to be coming in many ways from both parties. Definitely the Republican Party for sure is a serious issue, and that's why there's this discussion about the third party. So let's listen in on this.
Yesterday, both Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker Carlson floated the idea of working on a third party. Let's take a listen here to Marjorie Taylor Greene on with Piers Morgan discussing her plans for potentially launching something to compete with the Republican and Democratic parties.
But is there a chance that Tucker, and maybe with support of people like yourself, could you see him making a run? I mean, is there a new splinter version of the Republicans that could take over the party?
I haven't had that direct conversation with Tucker. I know a lot of people are speculating that, and I can tell you right now, Tucker Carlson would be a great threat to both parties because there's many Americans that are very independent that would support him, but there's also Republican voters and Democrat voters that would support him. So I would say he's a very credible threat. There is a group of us that have literally fought the system. And I think there's a group of us that if we decide to align, we could launch a true America-focused party that doesn't fall into the traps of Democrats and Republicans, but could align some serious players from the right and the left and move forward. But Piers, I'm also very realistic because I was in the system. I've served in Congress. I've run campaigns. I know what it takes. It's difficult to launch a third party. So the reality is this isn't something that gets off the ground in just a couple of campaign cycles. This is a movement that has to be developed and would take time to develop. I'm not sure where that is right now, but I am in talks with people, and there are serious conversations happening.
Okay, so she says she's in talks with people and there are serious conversations happening. Now, meanwhile, separately, Tucker Carlson, an interview he did with the Columbia Journalism.
So let's get to what Tucker said here in a moment. Yeah, it's there would have to be a mass exodus from both parties, and aligned values in other areas. I just don't see it being something that seems very plausible to be successful. Many are throwing around the theories that this is to try and influence the Republican Party, and that may be just the talk about it, to try and influence how Republicans are going about things, and that maybe could be the case. But let's hear what Tucker had to say himself from the Columbia Journalism Review. Kim Iverson reading it.
He was being interviewed by CJR, which is the Columbia Journalism Review. And they asked him the question, are you interested in aligning yourself with other anti-war voices? And Tucker says, I do know what really matters is war and finance. Where does the money come from? Where does it go? And who gets killed? All of those questions, the parties are in lockstep solidarity with each other. That's not a democracy. That's a one-party state posing as a democracy, and it needs to be broken. And there's going to be a third party, and I'm going to do everything I can to bring that about, says Tucker. And that's the lesson of the last 2.5 months to me. If you vote for Trump and you still wind up in a regime change war, if Chuck Schumer is strongly behind Trump's foreign policy, which he is, then we need options, or else let's just give up and be ruled by the most unscrupulous people. And I'm just too young to accept that. We need a third party. And they ask, and when you say do everything you can, Tucker says, I'm going to help build a third party. There should be a good faith effort to figure out what benefits the country. I mean, if you make $60,000 a year, you're degraded. Your life expectancy has gone down, and the promise of your children's lives is likely gone. No one seems to care. It's not even a factor. What about Hamas? I officially don't care about Hamas. The U.S. government should have, as its first priority, the welfare of its own people. Would you be a candidate for this third party? They asked Tucker. He says, I don't want to be a candidate. Before I did the Times interview, someone said to me, they're going to ask you if you're running for president. I was very tempted to say, I'm running on the pro-patriarchy ticket just to make sure I gain no new fans. So he's like, I don't really want to run. And I don't blame him. You just go under major scrutiny once you do choose to run for office. But
and then she went into some theorizing about, extremes on both ends coming together. And I just don't see that happening. But very interesting. So there is an official talk about a third party. Let me know what you think down there in the comments. Good idea, bad idea. What's going on with that? Go ahead and leave your thoughts. Hit that like button on the way out. Subscribe if you're new here. Channel trailer link down below in the pinned comment. Find out more about this channel. See you next time. God bless. Thanks for watching. Adam's Analysis is here to provide logical, analytical, and theological perspectives on current cultural issues. To find out more about the channel, take a look down in the pinned comment. There's a channel trailer. There are also other related videos to watch. Don't forget also to like and subscribe on the way out. God bless, and I will see you next time.